Welcome everyone to our community meetup featuring our expert elites. We're very happy to have you here with us today, and we're going to show you everything you ever wanted to know about why and how you should get involved in the Autodesk community. So let's start with a couple of introductions first. So my name is Chris. I'm the community manager for product design and manufacturing here at Autodesk. I'm the new guy on the block as far as joining the community team. I've been with Autodesk since June of this year, but by no means am I a newbie to the community. I've been involved in the Autodesk community since roughly Autodesk University 2010. I was one of the first expert elite members brought in the 2012 year. So I've been an expert elite for 8 years before joining Autodesk. I'm a designer. I've been using Inventor, Vault, AutoCAD, little tiny bit of Fusion. Spoken at Autodesk University 8 times now, including this time right now. And pretty much done everything you can think of in the design and manufacturing area as far as community is concerned. I've been on blogs, I've been on social media, I've been in the forums, and I spent way too much time doing community stuff. I probably should have spent more time doing design stuff, but here we are. So I'm going to let Tiana introduce herself next.
Hi everyone, I'm Tiana. I am the community manager for AutoCAD products and subscription management. Prior to starting my role here as a community manager, I was a AutoCAD technical support technician for Autodesk for about 1.5 years. And then before that, I was actually working in the aerospace industry as an airframe design engineer. And yeah, I've joined the community team. It's been about 6 months now already. It's been great. And yeah, that's me.
Hey, thanks, Tiana. So let's talk a little bit about what are we going to do in this community meetup today. First, we're going to talk just a little bit about what is the community and why you should be considering getting more involved in it. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what is this Expert Elite program. You know, the title of the meetup is Community Meetup with Expert Elites. And some of you might be saying, well, who are these Expert Elites? And so after I talk a little bit about what is the Expert Elite program, I'm going to introduce you to 2 of our Expert Elites who are here with us today. They're going to tell you their story of how they got involved in community, how they got involved in the Expert Elites, and what it has done for them both personally and professionally. Kind of just tell you their whole community journey story. And then we're going to go through a whole bunch of slides that'll give you everything you need to become an active member in all aspects of the community. We're going to throw a lot of links at you in this session. We have QR codes on the screen, so get your phones ready to take some pictures of these links. And we're also going to post the URL in the chat, so keep an eye on the chat window. You're going to want to copy and paste all of these links and put them somewhere safe. Bookmark them on your browser, because this is all the tools that you need. And then we're going to open it up to some Q&A at the end if we have enough time, and we'll let you ask those burning questions about the Autodesk community. So, why become an active part of the community? Well, first of all, and I've always held this belief since I started getting involved myself, is that there's 2 kinds of community. There's lower C community and capital C community, and we are already lower C community. Every single one of us is part of a community, whether we know it or not, just simply by the fact that our lives are touched by Autodesk and its products. That may be a good thing, that might be a bad thing. It depends on your perspective, but the fact remains we all have this in common. And by virtue of that, we are a community, and we're all in this together. There's not one user or employee or developer or student who should feel like they're in this alone. So that's my answer to why become an active part of the community, is because we are all in this together and we need to support one another in any way that we can. So when we were putting this meetup together, we decided we wanted to try to draw up a little picture of what is the umbrella of the Autodesk community and what does it contain. And as we started putting it together, I realized if I concluded everything on this slide, you wouldn't even be able to read it. There's so much that falls under the umbrella of the Autodesk community. And so we started playing around with different ideas for how to put this slide together. And one thing that struck me as we came up with this final version of it is how interconnected it all is. And that made me realize, you know, it's just like us. We're all interconnected, just like the various parts of the Autodesk community are interconnected. So again, that just brings it home for me that we are all in this together. We are all interconnected, even though we come from different countries, different industries, different belief systems. We're all in this as part of one big group. And so what we settled on in this slide is these are the areas that we're going to specifically cover in this meetup. So an expert elite once said, the community is a compendium of all things Autodesk. And I believe that. I think that's true. It sums up everything that we all work on, all the things that we do on a daily basis. So to help connect people with each other and with the expertise they need all over the world, the community helps you to establish friendships, create opportunities for working together, new ways of learning and connecting across the globe and with us here at Autodesk. So our new landing page, right there, makes it even easier now to jump off to all of these different branches of the community that you need, that have all of the tools you need, whether it be the forums or the Autodesk University, user groups, social media, whatever you need, you can get to all of it in one place now, including our new industry-specific resource pages, which themselves have a wealth of resources that will help you throughout your daily journey and your work. So we're going to introduce a couple of expert elites and have them come and talk to you. But before I do that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what is the Expert Elite Program. So the Expert Elite Program, as it says on the slide, is a program recognizing individuals that have a deep passion for Autodesk products and volunteer, this is important, volunteer their time to assist other customers by sharing their key learnings and innovative practices. I've said it several times this week in different meetings that I've had that these are the rock stars for our products. These are the people who, just because they want to, because they feel that it's important, they take the time out of their lives and their jobs and they share what they have learned and what they know with people who need help. And they do it just because they're good at it. And it's really become kind of like a family. Like I said earlier, I was an expert elite for 8 years. And if you look real close, you can see me in that center picture over on the far left, leaning on somebody's shoulders, which is kind of what the Autodesk expert elites do. We lean on each other and we share what we know with the rest of the community. And during the year, we get to see each other maybe once or twice if we're lucky. And to me, that's one of the highlights of Autodesk University, is always getting to see all of these people that I've made friends with over the years. So when we look at the Autodesk Expert Elite Program, it started in 2012 with 60 members, and now is up to 550 plus members in 59 countries. So that's pretty impressive, I think. And some of the things that we look at when we're trying to decide who is an expert elite, we look at leadership, which represents the spirit of the community and bringing the voice of the customer back to Autodesk. These are people who seek opportunities to innovate, leaving a path for others to follow. Kindness. We want our expert elites to exemplify a supportive style, helping others succeed in maximizing the use of the products that they're using. Responsiveness, actively sharing practices with customers to optimize the use of Autodesk products through various means, whether it's the forums, the Autodesk Knowledge Network, websites, social channels, videos, you name it. These guys do it in any way they possibly can share their knowledge. Advocacy. Now, we expect the expert elites, or hope that they will be brand advocates for Autodesk and act as fair and balanced representatives. Now, I remember my first expert elite group meeting, we were told that while this is true, it was not supposed to always be sunshine and puppies. They also expect us to sometimes be Autodesk's biggest critics, but it has to be done in a fair and balanced way. You know, they want honest feedback from people. And of course, expertise. You can't be an expert elite if you're not an expert. So they expect expert elites to have a strong understanding of Autodesk and its products. So the expert elites participate obviously in the forums with more than 110,000 post replies, and I can't remember the number of solutions, but that number is pretty astronomical as well. And you will recognize expert elites in the forums by the square badge that you see up in the upper left corner of this slide. That will usually be in their signature line, so that's how you'll know you're talking to an expert elite. They are also active on many social channels, including Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and probably some that I've never even heard of before. They are active in creating articles and screencast videos for the Autodesk Knowledge Network. They participate in user groups, and several of them are user group leaders. They are speakers at events, like 35% of them are speakers at AU, and several are consulting in the services marketplace. And many of them participate in their own blogs or websites. So without further ado, let me bring in our first guest speaker who is an expert elite, and take it away, Katie.
There we go. I'm unmuted now. So hi, everybody. My name is Katie Mercier. I am a civil engineer here in the wonderful state of Connecticut. I have over 15 years of experience, and I've been using Civil 3D right from the start. I'm actually going to talk to you about my community journey. So if you want to progress to the next slide. So I have a little sign on my desk. I have it right here, but you can see it on the screen as well. It's my personal motto. So learn one thing a day. In this world of information, there's no excuse for ignorance. So I always have made it sort of my goal to find an opportunity to learn. And sometimes it's work related and sometimes it's not. But early in my career, it had to be work related because I wanted to, do the best I could for my employer. So if you move on to the next slide. So my journey with Autodesk products started back in 2004 when I graduated my bachelor's of civil engineering from Virginia Tech. And at that time, it was Autodesk Land Desktop that I learned at school. And then at the next slide, that progressed into my employment. So I became, an engineer in training at first, and then eventually a professional engineer in Connecticut and the state of New York. And I, sat next to coworkers, like probably many of you have, and learned from them on real world projects of, how to use the various softwares. And then Civil 3D came out, and there weren't really anybody in my office that excelled in it. So it was sort of, I took it upon myself to figure out what this new software was and how do I use it. And I think that, today people, as Autodesk continues to come out with really great innovative softwares, people are put into the same situation of having this opportunity and using a community to be able to learn those new softwares. So if you progress to the next slide. So I found a community. I originally reached out on Twitter because that was what was most prevalent at that time period. I got connected with other Civil 3D users and started getting links to blogs and other forums. I started participating in the forums whenever I had questions, and then that morphed into whenever I had answers, because learning isn't always a one-way street. Sometimes when people ask a question, sometimes you know the answer right away, and sometimes it sort of spawns you off in order to want to find the answer as well. So I've participated in the forums for Civil 3D. I've also spent some time doing some of the beta testing in the feedback community, which started my love of subassembly composer, which is what I've talked about at past AUs. I'm not speaking about subassembly composer this year, but at past years, I've talked about that in depth. And that was because I became involved with the feedback community of Autodesk and got involved with that piece of software early on. And of course, LinkedIn. I'm active with LinkedIn and connecting with other Civil 3D users, other Autodesk expert elites, Autodesk users, Autodesk employees. And, you know, it's a community that just, you know, continues to give knowledge. So it's a great thing. Next slide. And so from when I found a community, that opened up new opportunities for me. It was through Twitter that I found out way back in 2010 about Autodesk University and was able to attend for the first time for AU 2010. And then I loved it so much, I became a speaker in 2011. And then I loved it so much, I became a speaker in 2012. And, you know, here I am in virtual Autodesk University 2020. The other opportunities that the community opened up for me is I received the opportunity to co-author Mastering Civil 3D 2013. Again, that was through connections I made virtually in wanting to learn more and wanting to share my knowledge with others. And then eventually I was invited to become an Autodesk Expert Elite. I believe I was in 2013 or 2014 that I started with the Expert Elite program. So that's sort of me and my community journey and just always taking that opportunity to learn one thing a day. And I think I'm going to turn it over next to my fellow Expert Elite.
Yep, we're going to hand it off to Dzan now, and Dzan's going to tell you his story. So is Dzan unmuted?
Yes, I am.
All right.
All right, so first off, thank you everybody for letting me be a part of the Autodesk community. I have been in the Autodesk realm for quite some time. I think my first release of Autodesk software was release 9 in AutoCAD. Learned tons of Autodesk software from AutoCAD and Revit and Navisworks and things like that. And just kind of went through my regular work day-to-day, just trying to be the typical jack of all trades person, helping the end users here and there, being a CAD manager, being the IT network administrator. And that was just kind of like my role for the longest time. And then I went to AU once and I saw somebody wearing a white jacket. And on that white jacket, it said Autodesk Expert Elite. And I said, what the hell is this? Because I've never heard this before. So I had to dig and figure this out. And when I found out, I said, ooh, I gotta try. So I applied and I didn't get in. And I applied and I didn't get in. And I applied and I didn't get in. And I got really angry and I said, this is not acceptable. So how do I get into this program? And I was able to get in touch with the lady that was in charge, Katinka, and she explained to me who and what is an Autodesk Expert Elite and how you become one. And so that started introducing me into the Autodesk community. And I had already been in the Autodesk community, I just didn't realize it, and I had very little input in the community. I think at the time I was logging in on a personal account and I had maybe 10 or 15 reply/responses to helping people, but that was about it. And so coming into the Autodesk community, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was involved. And so I had to learn really, really quickly what it meant to be part of the Autodesk community. And that was, in my eyes, to be able to help the community in the best way that you can with the software that you know, to learn as much as you can so that you can give back to your community. And you can start off really, really small by just helping your end users that you work with and your coworkers day to day. And eventually it will expand and you'll start to branch out to the community and to the world. And so that's what I started to do. And so I have been able to learn a lot more about the software, about Autodesk in general, about the family of Autodesk and what everyone is involved and what everybody is about. And then being able to produce content to share out. A little bit of my background, you know, I have a degree, I have an architectural design degree, and I picked up my first drafting pencil back in 8th grade. And I've gone through the typical things of being, you know, a red line person and managing projects and writing specs and doing RFIs and RFQs and things like that. becoming a CAD manager, network administrator, evolving and just working as an architect. And then eventually I got into the reseller channel and became an application engineer that helps and supports on that level. And then eventually I got into the Autodesk Expert Elite program after working really, really hard. And so now all of my content is out there on the web in different formats: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. I have a Facebook group. I have a Facebook page. I have LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn articles. I've done tons of screencast videos. My content is in the AKN forums, in the Revit help database as well. And so I really try to push myself to give as much as I can without actually, sacrificing too much of my time for other things, obviously, like family and community, other communities. And that's how I get involved in the Autodesk community. Now, how does it help me, and how does it how has it changed me? Because Chris was asking that question too, is, it's not just an Autodesk community and a family, it's what has it done for you, and how has it changed? And really for me, I think the turning point was when I became an Expert Elite. And it gave me the ability to wise up in my career and my professional attitude, and being able to not just do the Autodesk umbrella of pushing and helping your fellow man, but it helped me push myself in other personal arenas, such as the Boy Scouts of America, the Cub Scouts of America, martial arts, teaching and training, and doing a lot of church activities and other types of communities. And it really helped evolve me as a professional. So that's what Autodesk community means to me. And this is why I try as much as I can, when I can, to give back to the community as much as I can. So if you are new to the Autodesk community, I highly advise you to push yourself to grow and to learn as much as you can. I am always available for anybody and everybody. You can find me on the web. All of my stuff is out there. You can join me on LinkedIn. You'll find me, trust me. And I make myself available. I get text messages. I get email replies. I get Facebook and messages. I get YouTube responses to all of my videos, and I am immediately firing back answers as fast as I can. So, and with that, I'm going to throw it back to Chris.
Throw back to me. All right. Well, thanks, Dzan. That's great. Both of these stories are pretty great. I've known these guys for a while. So now I'm going to throw it over to my partner in crime, Tiana, and we're going to talk a little bit about how and why you can get involved in the community. Now that you've heard what wonderful things it has done for Dzan and Katie and for myself, let's see what it can do for you now.
All right, thanks, Chris. So first and foremost, one of the biggest things I think that the community is known for is our community forums. So we have a ton of product forums alongside idea boards and feedback hubs. Our product forums are mostly, used for getting answers to questions, whether it be, tips and tricks questions, or either that it's actual product support styled questions. And then our idea boards and feedback hubs are really places where you can share your thoughts and ideas and kind of get your, feedback, for lack of a better word, out there, and be heard by Autodesk employees. We are a global. Well, Chris, go back. Oh, never mind. Just kidding. You're good. So we are a global team. So we have international forums as well, and these are some of the stats globally that came in last year. And one of the ones that really stands out to me, at least, is that we had 65,000 plus solutions. So that means that you guys are helping a lot of people out, getting those solutions posted and marked and things like that, because we had 65,000 plus solutions, but that doesn't mean that that's the only people looking at those solutions. So again, kind of going back to what Chris said, it really extends past just that one customer that you're reaching out to. So moving on, we have grown a lot as a community team, even the past 6 months that I've been on the team. So we're constantly looking for new ways to expand our community reach, one of which is our new industry resources. So we created 3 new industry-specific resources. They cover AEC, D&M, and M&E. And just in case anyone doesn't know the acronyms, AEC is Architecture, Engineering, and Construction. D&M is Design and Manufacturing, and then M&E is our Media and Entertainment. So alongside of creating new discussion forums related to these 3 industries, we also created industry-specific landing pages. And in there, we have community-specific or community-created content, as well as content that we think would be helpful for anyone who is in that industry looking for some more information, looking to gain some more knowledge and things like that. And alongside of those 2 things, we also created LinkedIn pages. And in those LinkedIn pages, we're using that to try and help people who have job openings, find people who might be looking for jobs, as well as consulting. Anyone who, you know, might be a small 3D print shop that's looking for, you know, someone to help out, things like that. So we're trying to make some new connections that way through the new industry resources. And then on top of the new industry resources, we also created a pretty new technology manager community. So what the technology manager community is kind of looking for or looking to help with is if you're a BIM, CAD, or IT manager, if you fall within any of those categories, or even an admin, really it's looking to help you guys get answers to questions that you might have as far as your subscription and Autodesk accounts go, as well as connect you all and hopefully get some good tips and tricks on, you know, how you're deploying your software and things like that. So we have created a new landing page as well as a revamped forum. And sorry, there we go. And within the landing page, we actually have a community created content section. And we're trying to highlight content that you guys have come up with, whether it's, you know, your own YouTube videos, any kinds of tutorials, your best practices. Hopefully, you know, we can get some roundtables going with us here at Autodesk and kind of have a good community vibe there so that we can connect you guys together. Okay, moving on from here. We also created, again, brand new, is our expansion to social program. So this is relatively new, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to broaden the reach of our forums and broaden who we're helping, as well as also kind of make a better mobile experience for people as well. So it's called a syndication program. I'm sure a few of you who are in the boards pretty often have seen, you know, the little new cloud icon. But basically what we're doing is we created Facebook groups to go alongside the forums. And we are syndicating the posts, so it's a two-way street. So if you post to the forum, it will go to the Facebook group and vice versa, and same with replies. So again, just trying to broaden our reach to who we're helping. And then for the expansion to social program, we're focusing right now on the AutoCAD, Revit Architecture, Fusion 360, and Inventor communities. All right, so then that brings us to our community Twitter page. So our community Twitter is updated daily. It has latest news, updates, events that are going around as far as community is concerned, as well as certain things going on, you know, just with Autodesk in general. It's been growing. I believe we're actually past the 24K mark. I believe that milestone was hit not too long ago. So that is another way that you can get involved with the community. If you're just looking to, share some ideas, get some, new information, things like that, this is a great way to, 24.3K. Thanks, Diana. So it's really great. Diana runs that and she's wonderful. Shout out to her. So that brings us to, I believe, our Autodesk user group network. So our group network is basically a place where you guys can connect with different user groups. It spans through, I believe, development networks, networks just in general, as far as, oh my God, I'm trying to find the word and I can't. Anyways, you can find local user groups near you. You can become a leader if you're not already one. And they kind of get insights to the community dojo, which is also relatively new within the community team. And you guys can kind of, just connect and have fun and swap ideas and things like that. And then I believe that was the last, yep.
We covered the areas that we specifically had targeted for this meetup, and so now we're going to turn it over with some specific calls to action for you today, moving forward. Very, very specific. Become a part of the community. Become an active part of the Autodesk community. Get into the community and tap into the resource. Connect with other people. Make new friends. Make new connections. It's like the little picture down there shows. It's like putting all the pieces of a puzzle together. Complete your Autodesk profile so that you can show others who you are. Get into the community forums, the industry resources, the user group network, and follow our Twitter handle, and just start taking advantage of all these different resources that we have available for you. So I think with that said, it's your turn. So we will take any questions that people have about how you can get involved, or what you can do. Just questions for us, for anybody on the team. And there's no lineup, so jump in.
Just as a quick heads up to everyone too, as much as possible, we were trying to share the links to everything that we were discussing into the group chat. So if you guys wanted to check out some of the resources just on your own time, the links should all be there.
And also just for the chat list and everything that's in there, you can actually save the chat out as well, because if you actually jump out and jump back in, you may not see that propagated list again. So there's a quick little 3 little buttons that you can click to save the chat window out, and you'll have all your links done. It's a fast way to keep it
to a text file, and then they'll be handy for you. Then I suggest you open each one of them up in Chrome or whatever browser you use and bookmark it, so that it will always be right there at your fingertips.
So real quick, just a couple are coming in on the chat, so I want to make sure that we recognize them. So one of them, Rachel's already doing a wonderful job at answering, but just so that in case everyone can see it. How does the user group interact with the new Community Dojo? The Community Dojo was actually a project by the Autodesk Group Network and their user group leaders. The knowledge in the dojo was from the expertise of group leaders in the Autodesk Group Network. So hopefully that answers that question.
So Chris and Tiana, if there are people you want me to unmute and take their questions, just let me know the name and I'll go to them.
Yep, so it looks like Dario asked if he could ask something.
All right, great, we'll go there. All right, Dario, you should be getting an unmute request right now.
Okay, thank you. Hi, how are you? Big hello
Hey, Dario.
Yeah, again. Thank you, Katinka. Thank you, Kate. And it's a great event. Yeah, many people knows me about media entertainment, for instance. I can talk specifically for media entertainment. And like many times in Autodesk University, I see that media entertainment is not covered. I mean, like no people follow too much Autodesk University as media entertainment fields. I mean, like game or visual effects, and I open to help in future to involve more people from these industries, because it's part of the Autodesk environment. I mean, and I see the good opportunity to create some chapters here locally, like a user group or local user group of chapters. Is a good idea, and my suggestion is to push this way, because many people need to be involved in different language. For instance, I am Italian, I speak Italian, I speak English right now from just 2 years. And one of my problem before was just Italian is not too much covered by Autodesk. It's normal, it's a smaller community. I mean, I agree, because we need to focus in the most important language. But yes, my idea is to follow this way to help people to create the local chapters. I mean, virtual or physically. I don't know right now physically, but virtually, yes, because the language is a very bigger wall for many people. Me too, in the past, because it's the problem of the language. Because I opened the microphone just to agree with you about this way. And thank you for everything.
Thank you. I wanted to remind everybody that if you have a question, you can either put it in the chat or you can use the raise hand button as well. So, looking through the chat to see if there are any other questions in here.
There is one. Is there any prerequisites for the Expert Elite program?
Could you tell me? Oh, okay.
It was just written in the chat.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So, Kate, actually, do you want to take that question?
Well, there's Katinka's on the line. That's even
Do we have
better.
Katinka on the line? Let's unmute Katinka. Katinka is the director of the Expert Elite program, so no one better to answer that question.
Happy to take the question. So the Expert Elite program has a wonderful website for anyone that would like to learn more about the program. I would like to share the website URL. I'm just going to put that in chat. And it is www.autodesk.com/expert-elite. And the Expert Elite website has a tab, an FAQ tab. And in that tab, there's a great deal of information on the requirements to become an Expert Elite. We also have a lot of support available via email if you have any other questions, and I'll put that in the chat as well. And that is expertelite@autodesk.com. So if you cannot find the information you're looking for on the website, please feel free to reach out to me and our team directly at expertelite@autodesk.com. And we look forward to speaking with you.
Thank you, Katinka. Okay, I see there was a comment in there for Dario with a list of local user groups in Europe. So that should help you out, hopefully, Dario. Any other questions in the chat, or anybody want to bring one up? It's very
Raise
quiet.
your hand or wave at us on the screen or.
No other questions? We must have done such a good job that nobody has any questions to ask, but I would think that there would be one or two. So I did put all of the links as we were going through the slides are up here in the chat as you scroll on up. And like Dzan said, if you click the 3 dots at the bottom of the chat window, you can save this entire conversation as a text file so that you have all of those links available to you going forward.
And then I would comment that for those of you who are starting to get into the Autodesk community, there is a wealth of information, and you can get a little, what's the word? Overexposed to so much information. So the best way to try to take it in is just take it in slowly. Start with figuring out where to go to get solutions and ask questions to get your answers. Then start branching out to what are the main communities that you think you would want to be most involved in, whether it's from an application standpoint or from a community standpoint. And that will help guide you to learn more and do more. And eventually you'll jump from one tree branch to the next tree branch, and you'll cover the whole tree. So
yeah, for me, it started very slow. Like Dzan said, I was still learning Inventor. I was put in charge in the company I was in with changing over to Inventor Tube and Pipe. I didn't know a thing about it. So I jumped into the forums and I started asking questions in the Inventor forum. And it wasn't long that I was the guy people were asking about Tube and Pipe. And so I started answering questions.
there you go.
And as these conversations grew, I started discovering that, oh, well, I could also talk to people on Twitter, or I could also write an article here or there. And so I ended up starting my own blog site and posting. The way I ran my blog site, every time I learned something new that I was excited about, I wrote an article and put it up on my website and then posted it all over social media saying, hey, everybody come see what I just did. So,
Yep.
I mean, that's
how it evolves. Yeah, that's how it evolves. I went through the same approach too. And when you learn something new, like really exciting and fun, like I learned today in one of my classes, like, ooh, I got to find time. I got to make a YouTube video for this so I can spread this out. And next thing you know, it goes to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm still trying to figure out the Instagram thing, but but yeah, so that's how it pushes out. And before you know it, you've helped people. You may not realize. That's the other thing too, is when you become part of the Autodesk community, try to also understand that you're not just there learning and growing yourself, but you're helping others indirectly, directly or indirectly. You're helping others, and in essence, you're helping yourself. And you'll get better, you'll get smarter, and you'll become better. It's no different than when I tell all of my students when I teach martial arts. I said, I learn as much teaching you what you need to do as much as learning from you teaching me why do you think the way you think and the way you do the way you do. And when you do this, the teacher becomes the student becomes the teacher. So approach it in that manner and you will always grow, you will always do better, and you'll always be able to give back, okay?
So many times I've gone to answer a question in the forums and realized I don't know exactly how to do that. So I'll open up the software and figure it out. So I've just taught myself something new, and then I go answer the question in the forums.
Whenever I'm talking to anyone new who's learning the software or anything, or learning any sort of new skill, I always say that being aware of something and being aware it exists is the first step in a learning process. You don't need to remember how to do it. You just have to remember that it can be done. So that way, I mean, that's sort of why I fell in love with the community, because it gave me that opportunity to just be aware of solutions. And then when I got to that point that I needed that answer, I knew the correct terminology and the correct, that it could be done. So just being aware that if someone else has that issue, just, I always tend to scroll the forums just to even read the headlines to sort of just be aware of those terminologies. I think with COVID, that's one of the things that we're really missing of us all working from home, is that we're not overhearing our coworkers, sort of that generic chatter in the background of hearing the work terminology. And so, in a way, it's taking it upon yourself to seek out that background chatter of, what's out there. And then once, you see that it's might be applicable, you're like, oh, maybe I should learn more about that. So be aware and then learn.
And then, like Chris was saying earlier in the beginning of the presentation, don't feel like you're just by yourself when you're in your career and you're trying to solve problems and get answers. There is a massive community that's here to help you, okay? I went through the longest time working and thinking it was just me and I had to figure everything out on my own. And it was a hard struggle. It really was, trying to get answers. because I had to take my time and my own time to figure it out until I realized that there are people out there that know and can help you. And so once you can tap into that, it helps you advance quickly. And so part of the reason of being
Definitely.
in the Autodesk community is so that you can be the advocate to help those others that are struggling. And for me, like I always tell people, I say, I don't ever want to see you in a situation where you have a problem and you can't solve it, because that means you have a stumbling block and I need to help you get past it. And if you can't get past it, then tap into my resources. And if I can help you, I will. If I can't, I will find somebody to help you, because that's what all of this is about, making sure that you advance faster and move faster.
Awesome. Hey, Chris,
It looks like Patricia
you've got a
has
hand up
one.
from Patrick.
Yep, I'm about to.
Okay,
unmute you.
sorry.
Yeah, okay. Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Chris. Yes, just to add to what has been said now, when I was an AutoCAD teacher, I remember I had to stick to a particular program because we had to teach things. It was clear and very clear. We had to teach things in 3, 4, or 5 days. But I always insisted to my student to teach them things they think they didn't need. Because problem with teaching only always the same thing, you don't progress. I mean, you have also to go to things you think you don't need now, but you might need in the future. New functionalities, for example, in a software. And I always insisted on that because I've been working in several companies with people working on AutoCAD, for example, and some of these people didn't evolve because they were always using the same processes. I think that's a bit of a mistake. They have to go forward and to force themselves to learn new things, because you don't know what you will be going to need actually, and it's like that you progress also. And I think just to say that the forums are a good place for that, because if you look at the threads on the forums, maybe you don't have a particular question, but just looking at the threads, you learn things you didn't even
Absolutely.
realize that you needed actually.
Yeah, that's true too.
Mm.
That happens all the time. Yeah, talking earlier about how I was picking up the tube and pipe software, and that's kind of what got me involved in the community and how it grew for me. The biggest surprise was 2 years ago at Autodesk University when I was outside at one of the last day parties, and I got a tap on the shoulder, and I turned around and looked into the face of a complete stranger who said, "You're the tube and pipe guy, aren't you?" So you have no idea how many people's lives you've touched.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And you also will never realize when somebody is looking at you and seeing you as a mentor. You may not realize it.
You may not
Okay.
feel like a mentor,
And
but
you never, yeah, exactly. You never really, if you push yourself as hard as we all do in the expert elites and the rest of the community, you don't ever really feel like you're the top dog mentor. You really don't. It's always about learn the next thing, do the next thing, be better. And people that are in the community will see you as a mentor and you don't realize it. They'll tap you on the shoulder one day and they're like, "Thank you for this and this." And you're like, "What? When did I do this?"
when did I
Right?
help
And
you?
Exactly.
it's true. It happens a lot. So just keep pushing and keep growing and learning and being part of the Autodesk community it really is a global family. It really is.
And when you get that realization that you've helped even just one person, man, that feels good. That just feels good.
So.
So, are we getting any other questions in the
Got
chat?
some
Yeah.
comments.
Some comments. Yeah. Go ahead, Kate. Sorry. I didn't know you were monitoring it.
There's
Report.
there's a comment from Assis if you want me to unmute and ask him to speak to it.
Sure.
Let me
Assis,
just
do you
send
mind?
you an unmute request. Assis.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
I wrote something about some experiences. In the classes, always I learned something from the students. Since AutoCAD classes in 90s, yeah, always the same in the Revit classes, in different companies, different products. When I start in AutoCAD, in mechanical industries, the different companies developing and evolving the same products, similar products. I cannot find until today anyone having the same approach, figuring out in the same way. Every engineer, every architect have different views, and I always learn with each one teach me. We need to be open to learn, and always I learn all days. When I listen, for example, the master Dzan or Dario, your amico, my friend, and I want to have more time to learn about. I want to be a Dzan one day.
You don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that. I had I actually had a client sent me a message on LinkedIn this morning, and he said his company is growing and he's looking to hire, and he needed my advice on how to push out that information. And I gave him the information, and he said, "You know what would be better?" And I said, "What?" And he goes, "We just need to have 3 Dzans, and then we could just tackle this." And I'm like, "You do not want another one of me running amok. Trust me."
No, one's enough. Well, everybody in the forums, if you post in the forums, there's a way that you can contact an individual person by using what we call an @tag. And I'm going to post right now the @tags for myself and Tiana. So if you have any questions as we go forward, you can find us in the forums and use these tags, and we will see your message. So I'm going to hit the send on that right now. So that's myself and Tiana. If you use that @tag in the forums, we will see your post and we can answer any questions you might have.
You can also feel free to PM us too.
Yes. Yep. Yeah,
And then just for the audience, we will get your message, and be a little patient, because if we don't get to you right away, it's probably because we're helping others with their responses in different avenues and things like that. So don't feel discouraged that you didn't get a reply back right away. Okay, we do our best to try to make sure everybody gets taken care of as fast as we can.
Exactly. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Katinka. Thank you, Chris, Tiana. Hello, Patrick.
Anyone else have any last minute questions or comments, advice, stories they want to tell? I don't see anything. And then let me thank everyone for joining in and for spending some time with us, learning a little bit about the community. And I hope to see all of you taking part in all of those great resources that we've shared with you today. So
yeah, thank you.
Great. Looking forward to seeing everybody again. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.